And welcome to the recap here, everybody. Okay, so let's go over our matches here. We played against Nea Aggro, a pretty interesting take on an aggressive Dom raid deck, round one. Didn't go our way. We had some really close games where our opponent drew pretty well and had exactly enough lethal to come back at us when we were going to cast Enter the God Eternals and really flip the game around. I'm going to rewatch this because I think maybe I could have played a little differently and maybe Enter the God Eternals to avoid the fact that our opponent went Tajik into the red-white 2-2 to attack for like 9 damage on the last turn. Maybe if I could have Entered the God Eternals a turn earlier, might have been better. Not sure. I'm going to double check that, but that one didn't go our way. We lost round one. Round two, we played against a blue-red Ral combo deck that we just kind of annihilated, to be honest. It wasn't doing the necessarily powerful stuff needed to beat us. Like, Melody and stuff was great at stealing our Nicol Bolas. It was a good 2-for-1 that we had to destroy. But the Ral combo itself is so hard to pull off that I wouldn't really recommend that deck moving forward, and we kind of are pretty well set up to deal with that, just with all the removal that we can point at the Planeswalkers. And then round three, you just saw us beat Esper Hero pretty handily. Just the spells are so hard for them to deal with that if we can Thought Erasure or Duress clear the way for one of our bombs, it's up to them to top deck. And even our opponent was drawing quite well in that first game just to be able to be in it. Granted, they mulliganed as well as we did, and was drawing a lot of lands, but ended up drawing way too many lands at the end. Like, kept a 2-lander, drew 4 lands off the top in perfect configuration, but then continued to draw lands, so a little unfortunate on their end. But overall, I think Esper Midrange is a pretty good matchup for us. I think that we're doing similar things, and of course they can take advantage and take us down with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is one of the worst cards. Teferi Time Reveler is really good as well, but that's where Butcher shines, because most of the time this deck always was just a sorcery speed deck where your creature is going to sit and play and do something powerful if it lived. Butcher, on the other hand, is allowing you to play something early, pressure the Planeswalkers so they have to deal with those, and then after they've exhausted their resources, you have these powerful creatures like Thief of Sanity and Nicol Bolas the Ravager to be able to really swing the game in your favor and force them to top deck another removal spell, or just plain and simple, if you get Nicol Bolas Dragon God, the best they're doing to that is they'll have a couple of D-Sparks, which is the best answer for it. But otherwise, it's like Teferi, tuck a Nicol Bolas or whatever, and if you ever just have a second copy, or even a Butcher, or a Legion War Boss to be able to ping that Teferi afterwards, it's really tough for them to deal with, and that's why I love having 7 ways to attack a Teferi Hero of Dominaria that is down-ticked on a Planeswalker or down-ticked on anything, or a Teferi Time Reveler, which down-ticks on anything. Being able to have 7 ways to immediately pressure and kill those Planeswalkers just works out so nicely, and I think we kind of saw it in Game 3 there at the end. Overall, I really like the deck. I think it needs, of course, a little bit of tuning, as this is kind of an early iteration of a more aggressive Grixis aggro deck. I want to give a shout out to my buddy James for helping me work on this list. I'm blanking on his last name. It's a long last name. I'd mispronounce it anyways, but give him credit. He was the major designer of this deck, and then I tuned it a little bit here, but overall, mostly him. Very well-designed deck. Narset is one card that we bricked on quite a few times. I'm thinking you kind of have to choose between Butcher and Narset as being a more slow controlling deck, or the more aggressive Butcher version. I could even see those Narsets just turning into Legion War Bosses. I think that might be good. Just really try to be this aggressive Grixis shell. That's going to be where I'm going to head from now. Just because, and just switch Narset and Legion War Boss, because when you take out creatures and you try to be controlling, Narset's amazing. But for game 1, War Boss, it just seems better to me. Because this deck is kind of trying to do 2 different things here. I think you want to be focused in one direction, and I think the aggressive Grixis version for game 1 is more well-suited to beat the metagame. and be able to transform into the control version where you can bring Narset in and a bunch of hand disruption, duresses, negates, stuff like that against the matchups where it's good. So everybody, I want to thank you so much for watching my inaugural episode over here at Star City Games. And now I need help from you, the public. I need to name this column. What do you got? What do you got? What should we name this? What should we name this? I think, you are all very smart people out there. I know you're going to come up with something great. Reach out to me here and tell me what your idea would be for naming this column, okay? So it's up to you all. So thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week here at StarCityGames.com. Bye-bye.